Good morning, my little superheroes. Tell me, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
The power to read minds.
Super speed. Pew! The power to heal the sick.
Well, you can get smart, speed, and good health with the superhero trio from Orange. Orange has delicious omega-3 bursts, sugar-free multivitamin liquid, and flavored vitamin A, C, and D chewables to support a strong immune system, healthy bone development, and acute mental performance for superheroes like you. Part of the Orange family.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Good morning, St Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. Today is Friday, July 9th, 2021, and I am your host for today's edition, Devon Cornelius. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you once again for another edition of Voices. Let me say good morning to all of you who are joining us, whatever means, whether it be via radio, whether you're joining via the World Wide Web or social media or any other platform. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember, you can call us later on in the program. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. We will open the phone lines at 11:40. Today, we will be interviewing Mr. Valentine Lindsay, and he is the chair of the housing. Let me make sure I get that right. Sorry. Yes, Mr. Valentine Lindsay is the chair of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. As you know, for the past few Fridays, we have been inviting members or the chairpersons of the different committees within the St Kitts and Nevis National Disaster Plan, and this is a partnership between WINN FM and NEMA. We have been having these conversations. As you know, we are in hurricane season, and so we have been using the opportunity to educate you, the listeners, the public, on what you need to know in the event of a natural disaster. So shortly we will be joining with Mr. Lindsay. Let me apologize for the late start. We had some technical difficulties. I deeply apologize for that. But we will take this short break to say thank you to our sponsors. And when we come back, we will begin this program. Let's take the short break and we will be right back.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star, we come a gallop. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man then. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. At blem, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Energize your goals with Lucozade. Get it good. Look under the cap. Find the code. Win it. Thousands in prizes. iPhones and TVs. Or win 30 grand US dollars for your goals. That's goals.
For a chance to win 30,000 US dollars. Purchase any Lucozade Energy promo bottle. Look under the cap and find the code to win iPhones, TVs, and free Lucozade or 30,000 US dollars to energize your goals. See website, social media, or press for details. Lucozade, taste the energy.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Welcome back to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. Again, let me apologize. I'm so sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties and we were able to get those sorted out. As I stated earlier, this is a partnership between WINN FM and NEMA, where we have been sitting down or having conversations or interviewing rather the chairpersons of the different committees, subcommittees of the St Kitts and Nevis National Disaster Plan. Today we are going to discuss the Housing and National Disaster Plan with the chairperson, Mr. Valentine Lindsay, and he is the chair of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. Let me use this opportunity to say good morning again, and thank you, Mr. Lindsay, for accepting our invitation here at WINN FM. I look forward to this conversation with you. So, as we did in the past, I will give you the opportunity to make your presentation and to give whatever information to the general public, and then we will open the phone lines and we will take some calls from members of the public who may have any questions. At this time, I'm going to allow you to give your opening remarks and we're going to start this conversation.
Okay, good morning. This is Mr. Lindsay, chairperson of the subcommittee for the housing and shelter. As you are aware, the subcommittee, housing and shelter, is not necessarily has to do with just hurricanes. But seeing that we are in the hurricane season, I believe that we can focus our conversation, more about hurricanes this morning. Now, hurricanes can shatter lives as well as damage properties. Being prepared can help you, your family, or your business minimize the impact of the storm. The best time to start is before the storm. Threat is imminent. And so the Housing and Shelter Committee basically stems across a number of different government departments, and our main focus is to ensure that the facility, whether the housing facilities, are up to standard. Recognizing that the last 2 months, we crisscrossed the country, making sure that the properties that has been assigned to be shelters are appropriate. And so that is what we would have been doing for the last couple of months. Having identified whatever issues are in the properties, then we will make an effort to notify the relevant departments to have these buildings rectified or these problems solved, whatever the issues are. Whether it is a leaking roof, or whether it's windows that have shattered glass, or whether the doors are dropping off, these are the issues that we look at. We also look at the structural integrity of the buildings. And from time to time, we recognize that you will have vandalism, and persons. So these are things that we also would have to be continually looking at to ensure that the buildings, the properties, some 43 properties we have assigned to shelters are in adequate condition. And so we do not want to wait until a storm is imminent to ensure that these properties are up to standard. So this work has to go on before, and this is where my committee comes in, which has persons from public works, persons also from social development, we have persons from physical planning, and we also have persons from the sporting department. We also have members from the Christian Council as well as the Evangelical Association in all part of this committee, because you would recognize too that some of the properties, I guess from our discussion going forward, are not only government properties, but some of them are properties belonging to the church. And so we have the Christian Council being a part of my committee.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Thank you so much for that information. It is 19 minutes past the hour of 11. We are going to continue this conversation. For those of you who are just tuning in, you are listening to WINN FM 98.9, today's edition of Voices, and having a conversation with Mr. Valentine Lindsay. He is the chair of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. And as I stated before, this is a continued partnership between WINN FM and NEMA in order to educate members of the public about what they need, especially during this time of when you should get prepared for or in the event of a natural disaster. Now, you are, as your title, the chair of this committee, which is the Housing and Shelter Committee. And I assume that some of your responsibilities would include ensuring that there is adequate space or the adequate or the right amount of shelters for people in the event that there is a natural disaster. Earlier, you spoke about having to inspect these structures, these buildings, making sure that they have good structural integrity. But now that we are not just preparing for a natural disaster, we are in continued preparation for COVID-19 as we are learning something new every day as it relates to COVID. In your capacity as the chairperson for this committee, how has it been in terms of finding adequate space, or do you foresee that there will be a challenge in finding adequate space because of the new COVID-19 protocols?
Well, I would say in the sense that PAHO would have set the standard as which in terms of the number of square feet persons must have at each shelter. And so they have 36 square feet per person. Now here in St Kitts, we are already above that because in our shelters, we have set the square feet to be 40 square feet. And so we are even more than what is recommended. And so each shelter has a capacity, a maximum capacity of persons that can be in that shelter. So let us say, for instance, at St. Peter's, we have the St. Peter's Community Center. If we have a number of groups damaged or blown off in St. Peter's, not because the community center is there, everybody should flock that center. So we already know beforehand what is the capacity for that center. Presently, the capacity is 38 persons. And so that is the capacity that the number of persons that we can fit in that shelter. So in the event that we have 60 persons, it means in that shelter, the extra 12 will have to go to another shelter. So bearing in mind, we already have the spacing for the COVID, numbers. We can also, because presently the numbers are coming down and we are being better prepared for COVID, I believe too that if it means that, now persons would have their cards and persons will be able to identify whether they have their 2 shots, we can also look at avenues where persons who do not have their shots can be placed in a different shelter within the community. So, but this is a discussion that is still going. As you say, that we are learning new things every day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Lindsay. Can you provide an update on some of the work that has been done or can you shed some light on some of the work that has been done on the island of Nevis? Is there someone that you guys would have to keep in contact with to make sure that shelters on Nevis are being maintained and things are being done, necessary preparation being on the island of Nevis?
Well, I could say my team and I will travel to Nevis, and it is strange that you ask a question because between the two countries, I believe Nevis had set the standards. The shelters are in much better condition. When I say that, they are managed in a much better way. They have shelter managers that are persons who are stationed at each center from 8 to 4. They also have CDOs, whereas here in St Kitts we do not have that. So Nevis and also the other thing that I believe that too, because there is, it is much smaller. They are better able to have the link between the shelters and even the outreach to the persons even much better. But Nevis are prepared. On my committee, we have 2 persons that travel from Nevis every time we have a meeting. If we have meetings physically here in St. Kitts, but sometimes we have a meeting on Zoom, just as we are communicating now. And so we are well aware as to what is taking place in Nevis. And I can report that the Nevis team there is doing a fine job.
Awesome. Very, very good. Mr. Lindsay, it is 25 minutes past the hour of 11. We are going to take a short break to say thank you to us for this program. And when we come back, we are going to continue this conversation. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's take this short break and we will be right back.
Good morning, my little superheroes. Tell me, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
The power to read minds.
Super speed. Pew! The power to heal the sick.
Well, you can get smart, speed, and good health with the superhero trio from Orange. Orange has delicious omega-3 bursts, sugar-free multivitamin liquid, and flavored vitamin A, C, and D chewables to support a strong immune system, healthy bone development, and acute mental performance for superheroes like you. Part of the Orange family.
Your computer or phone is your flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Have anything when we come back? Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. It's just 7:30, and you're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you who just tuned in, you are listening to Voices, and I'm here with Mr. Valentine Lindsay. As I stated before, he is the chairperson of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. And this is a continued partnership between WINN FM and NEMA, that is the National Emergency Management Agency. There is a continued partnership for us to educate members of the public on what they need to know about the hurricane season and what to do in the event of a natural disaster. So we don't really want to focus too much on hurricanes because there are other forms of natural disasters, but of course we are more prone to hurricanes. I'm here with Mr. Lindsay, and he's the chairperson of this committee. Very good conversation we have been having. Mr. Lindsay, it is just 30 minutes past the hour of 11. I'm going to allow you to continue making your presentation and to touch on anything else that you would like members of the public to know. Sorry, your mic is muted. You have to unmute your mic.
Yes, sorry. Yes, as you rightly said, that there are other disasters, but recognizing that we are in the hurricane season, there are a number of things that we need to do before the storm comes. And one of the things, and I believe that NEMA has started the PRO relations at this time in terms of informing persons as to who the district managers are. And so you have different messages coming out from the district managers. What we will have in short order as well, we will have the shelters named, or we'll have the signs attached to the shelter, the buildings, so that persons can know where the shelters are. Now, each district has a number of shelters, and persons who are in districts, and the districts really follow what we would term as the constituency demarcations. Like constituency 1 is district 1. And so in each district, there are a number of shelters. And so persons must bring themselves to the awareness of where these shelters are. And so that is one. So the one person is to recognize that. Also, we must prepare in the sense of having what we call a basic disaster supply kit. And so I think each home should have that. And basically we can have persons, depending on how much persons within the house, you must have at least 5-gallon bottled water per person. You also need to have food, non-perishable food that can last at least 3 days. You must have a battery or radio, cranking radio, so that you can keep abreast with what is going on. You must have a flashlight, first aid kit, knives, extra batteries, candles, lamp. You know, those are some of the things that we need to have within our kits. Also, persons must know what are in their house. For instance, for insurance purposes, in the event that you were to have your roof blown off, you must not at that point in time trying to get the assets that you have in your house. And so persons must have a list of an inventory of their assets, the furniture, the value of these items. And so that can assist later on in the event that they have to make any claims to insurance. So there are some basic things that we need to do. And you also need to ensure, having received a value, you have to ensure that whatever you have your contents valued at, it is an appropriate value, because over time you might have opened the insurance 5 years ago, but over time you would have been increasing your equipment into the house, or your furniture or whatever, and so the value might have changed. And so these are simple things that you have to pay attention to. And so going forward, also we need, at this point I would like to make a plea to the community, because one of the things that we suffer from here in St. Kitts, and this is one why I tried to single out Nevis, because we went to Nevis and I did not see one cracked glass at any center in Nevis. And here in St. Kitts, we have a number of community centers, especially the one in St. Johnson Village. When I speak to social development, they have organized about every time they replace the windows, the very next week, there is a shattered glass. And so we have persons who seems, or maybe young people, I don't know, who seems to take joy in destroying the public property. And so I want to make a plea to persons who are listening today to look out for these shelters to ensure that our children, take care of them. I also want to speak to, even when persons were to, and I believe that social development now has put something in place that can now more monitor when persons borrow the keys or rent these centers, that they leave them in good condition. You go to some of these centers and the chairs are all messed up, the tables are messed up. And you go to some, and this, when you go to different communities, some communities, the furniture is in a much better condition. So you can see some communities take pleasure in ensuring that the assets are secured. Whereas you have other communities. We have community centers where some of the windows can't open because persons just knock out the glass, just stones knock out the glass. So you have a lot of the windows now are sealed or screwed closed. Now that is not healthy in the environment if we have to utilize those centers in an emergency setting. And these are some of the things now that we have to repair. And so I'm making an appeal for persons where when it comes to vandalizing of public property.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. I too would want to join you in making that appeal, because at the end of the day, you would have to use this facility. So when you go and you destroy this facility, you may be the same person that would have to end up in this very same facility that you went and destroyed. So I too join you in making this appeal to persons to not to vandalize public property, especially our emergency shelters. Now, quickly, Mr. Lindsay, as we're continuing this conversation, earlier you spoke about what people should have when, or in the event of a natural disaster or a hurricane, in terms of like, an emergency kit, a battery pack, make sure that you have water and other essential items. What do you do in the event you have, for example, you have an emergency shelter that can hold up to 30 people, 30 persons? What do you do when majority of these people are now in that shelter, but they don't have the essential items that you listed before?
Well, as you would have said, that my committee is basically to ensure that the property is up to standard. Now, in the event that you have a hurricane and persons enter these shelters, there is another committee that steps in, and that committee is the Welfare and Relief Committee. So that committee is formed out of social development, and so they now will provide the food. They now will manage the activity, because, recognizing we have incident and persons, as I said, over 30 persons in a shelter, somebody has to take over the management of that. Because, where you have persons without order, you have, chaos. And so the social development now, there's another community that will step in this event and provide the food. And so for these persons. In the past, the shelters would have opened 72 hours after an hurricane. Now, from the last year, I have been advised that at least 2 to 3 shelters opened before the hurricane. And so persons, even within the event, if possible, we can have security forces taking persons to these shelters. So we are sort of deviated a bit from the norm. My understanding is. Because normally shelters are open after on hurricane. But I'm more speaking to persons to ensure that they have this, because you recognize we are now in a crisis with COVID. And every time we have a break, you have lines. I saw some lines for Rams ending up all the way past the bank. And so I think from that disaster, we can learn and better prepare ourselves. Because somehow I'm getting the impression that our people do not even have a week's supply of food in their houses. The way how persons behave or reacted to this lockdown.
If we may, I would have to agree with you, Mr. Lindsay. How people reacted to the lockdown was crazy. I went to the supermarket as well, but I went to get things like, things you would definitely run out of in 3 and 4 days, perishable items. But I saw people going to the supermarket to buy cases of milk and cases of Clorox, and I'm like, you're gonna be on lockdown for 4 days. Why do you need to buy 2 cases of milk? So I guess that was for us to really see how prepared our people are in the event of a natural disaster. And that was a clear manifestation that we are not prepared. We are not prepared. It's 11:42, Mr. Lindsay. Do you have anything else that you would like to add to the conversation before we open the phone lines?
No, I guess we can open the lines so that we can have more time with the people.
Okay, we're going to open the phone lines now. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. You can send this, you can leave a message rather on the Facebook stream. We are live on Facebook at WINN Media SKN. You can leave a comment there and I will get to the comment and read the comment here. Numbers to call again are 466-0989, 762-0989 and 662-0989. We are going to take this short break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. And when we come back, we hope to have some callers on the line. We'll take this short break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no reaching now, we are shell down hard. Blast like a star in summer gala bar. Overdue it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are a gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man them. Wine with the style, no stop from spend. At blem, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Corniers. It's 11:47 and the phone lines are open. We'll begin taking your calls at this time. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Call us and this is the time to pose your question. If you know of a situation where you reside in a particular village and in that village, you know that, well, the emergency shelter needs to be retrofitted or it needs to be maintained or, needs some maintenance, and you should use that opportunity to report that. But whatever questions you may have, this is the time to call and do so. Mr. Lindsay, if we have no callers at this time, is there anything else that you would want to share with the public at this time?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to put our minds to is our building codes. And although I believe that our building codes would have been reviewed about 3 years ago, I think now, even looking at what happened in St. Vincent with the volcano there, the La Soufrière, recognizing a number of persons' houses would have been destroyed simply because the ash that fell on the roof caused the roof to collapse. And so persons who are away from the communities, and you have up to probably 6, 7, 8 inches of ashes on the roofs, and the roof collapse. So I think that is one of the things that we have to look at to make sure that our normally when we design our houses, we take hurricane force winds into questions, and the shape, whether it is gable roof or the different types of roof, also assist in the wind shear on the roofs. But I think that is something that we have to look at, because looking at pictures from St. Vincent, you would recognize a lot of the roofs of some persons goes to the community, try to go back into the community every week just to push the ash off of the roof. But even closer to us now also when it comes to hurricanes. I believe Nevis as well, I believe coming out of their history, you would recognize any new building or even probably go way back maybe 5, 10, 15 years back. Because I spent some time in Nevis and you'll find that almost every single house in Nevis, even these modern, at least these modern houses, have a system. And here in St. Kitts, we enjoyed just turning the tap and water appear. And we believe that it is always be there. Now that we are even having some challenge, even in my very own community, Kayon, my district, my very district, where we have been suffering over the years with water issues. We're hoping that the government will solve that in short order. And so, but we have to put our minds to these new buildings to have some form of water security, some sort of, whether it is cistern or water tank. The other thing that I think that we need to look at as well. Now, I was the chairman for NHC for the last 6 years, and we had some funding from Social Security to build 300 homes. And we also had a contract for the roof for these 300 homes. But because we started building on persons' private land, we had a number of persons saying, hey, this is hurricane, this is my house. I used to be in a rented house 1 year and the hurricane took the roof. I do not want no shingles on my roof. I do not want no T111. I do not want no galvanized nor galvanized. I want a concrete roof. And so we would have recognized at least 60% out of the 300 persons, families, decided they wanted concrete roof. And so I can say the last stop from NHC persons took the hurricane situation in mind. But the point I really want to make is that I think it is time for us to maybe change the building requirement to ensure that at least one room in these new houses, as long as the house has more than 3 bedrooms, or at least more than 2 bedrooms, at least one of them is set out to be a safe room. And a safe room meaning if you have a gable roof where galvalume and galvanized or even shingles, one of those rooms within that structure, if that was what you want to see, at least one of those structures must have a concrete roof, even beneath that gable style roofing. And so I believe that is one way, because recognizing the shelters, even though we have at least 40, 45 shelters at the moment, if we really have a disaster, even for instance, if we look at the volcano, we have a red zone which stems from Newton Ground, come all the way around to Tabernacle. It means that those persons would have to be evacuated. And so even under a hurricane situation, we can have destruction as such that our shelters are not enough. So once we have safe rooms built within our designs, it means then that would eliminate the amount of persons in the future that would need to go to these shelters. Because presently, as it stands, our shelters can hold at least 1,800 persons. No, that is not a real an adequate figure. Now, schools are not in my stock. So if the event that we have something that is, that is overpowering for us, schools can be utilized so that number can quickly go up. But right now, schools are not part of my listing. What we have is all the community centers. We have some sporting facilities like the stadium in District 1. We have a section there that is used for the shelter, and we have a number around the countries. We have a number of pavilions that have spacing for shelters, and we also use a number of church buildings for shelters. And so I'm saying, the point I'm really trying to send home is that we now need to design with a safe room in mind.
And I must agree with you, Mr. Lindsay. You know, earlier, as you spoke about the houses or structures in Nevis, you know, most of them would have cisterns. Most of them would have cisterns. And I would assume that most of the emergency shelters would have a cistern there as well. Before I continue, we have a caller on the line. Let us take this call before I continue. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices. Caller, good morning. You're live. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Yeah, we have lost that caller. Okay, we're still taking calls. 466-0989-762 and 662. Yes, Mr. Lindsay. So I was saying, you know, on Nevis, you would find more cisterns, you would find more homes being prepared. Okay, a caller is back. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You are live on Voices. Okay, we seem to be having some difficulties here. Caller? Okay, we seem to be having some difficulties with the phone lines, and we apologize for that. Please keep calling. We're going to take calls right up until 12 o'clock when we break for the headline news. So please keep calling. I'll give you some more time to call. 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. So yes, Mr. Lindsay, is there a plan on St. Kitts to equip homes or, in this regard, emergency shelters that don't have with cisterns?
Well, what I can say, a few years ago, we had BNTF did a project here in St. Kitts, and what they did, they basically installed, I think, at least 5,000 gallon tanks on each community center, or at each community center. Some of them are in the yard, and some of them are actually on the roof of these community centers. So 90% of the community centers have at least a 5,000. It may be more, I'm not certain as for the figure, but it definitely is not less than 5,000 gallon tank. So our centers are equipped with these tanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lindsay. It's 11:58, sorry, where we needed end time. There were some people that were trying to get in, but we lost those callers. I'm gonna just give some more time for those callers to call back. The numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. If we have no calls at this time, let me just say thank you so much, Mr. Lindsay, for accepting our invitation here at WINN FM. It was indeed a pleasure. So sorry that we had that late start earlier because of technical difficulties, but we're looking to have you back in the future to have conversations such as these. For those of you who may not know, this is a partnership between WINN FM and NEMA, where we are collaborating to sensitize the general public about, you know, what they need to know in the event of a natural disaster. We have the St. Kitts and Nevis National Disaster Plan, and this is us doing our part in educating you about the components of this plan and what you are to expect in the event this plan would have to be activated. Mr. Lindsay, he serves as the chairperson of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. And again, Mr. Lindsay, thank you for accepting our invitation. At this time, I'll give you the mic to give your closing remarks.
Okay, well, thank you again. Well, I must say thanks for the opportunity to speak to the nation. But I also must say too that I have a team of persons who work within the committee, and I will probably just name them quickly. I'm Chanel Hobson of Nevis, Winston Paris from Nevis. We have Valentine White, who works at Public Works, the Chief Inspector. We have Winston Herbert and Wright Simmons from the Planning Unit, Sustainable Development. And we also have Mrs. Fetty from NEMA, and we have Robert Pemberton from the Sports Department. And we have Mrs. Warner from my department, which is Human Settlement. And so with these persons, these are the main persons who comes to meeting. And our mission is really to move the dial forward. We would have had before me Mr. Knight, G. Knight, who was the last chairman, who would have did a tremendous work with this housing and shelter subcommittee. So I want publicly at this time to thank him for the work that he did in the past, and for him to know that this committee now is going to move the dial forward. And so I just want to thank my team for their support, and just want to continue to ask the country to do their part to remain safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lindsay, and we hope to have you back in the near future. Stay safe and keep well during this time of COVID-19. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You found the sound. 98.9. WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib,
It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WINN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
St Kitts and Nevis government to pay out $15 million on the Income Support Program.
COVID-19 impact, lockdown versus nutrition.
Valencia Grant has resigned as the Prime Minister's press secretary.
Permanent Secretary Henry Morton, move only if we absolutely have to. 3,814 people have benefited from food hampers and hot meals initiative. Administration of vaccines resume in the Federation. Health Minister in Antigua and Barbuda, Sir Malwin Joseph, provides update on COVID-19 vaccination drive in the country. Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners says CARICOM will need to investigate the reason behind vaccine hesitancy if it is to achieve its goal of herd immunity. Internationally, organizers of the Tokyo Olympics agreed on Thursday, July 8th, to ban fans from the events under a COVID-19 state of emergency. Now, the details.
$15 million has been allocated by the government of St Kitts and Nevis to provide financial assistance to people who have been unemployed since March 2020 as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, made the announcement at his July 8th press conference.
We will implement another income support program in the sum of $15 million to alleviate hardships on our citizens who remain unemployed since March 2020. These citizens, of course, must be registered with the Social Security Board. The Social Security Board then will be able to verify whether or not you have returned to work.
The Finance Minister explained. A monthly stipend of $1,000 will be paid for 3 months to people who qualify for the assistance. Prime Minister Harris stated that people who have received more than $15,000 in severance payments will not be eligible for the assistance. People who are currently on the Poverty Alleviation Program who qualify for the Income Assistance Program will receive an additional $500. In March 2020, the government unveiled a stimulus package for people whose income was impacted as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. It was administered by the Social Security Board and provided up to $1,000 to people who lost their employment, were laid off, or had reduced hours with earnings less than $1,000 per month. Registered self-employed persons also benefited from initiatives paid in March, April and June of 2020. The assistance ended in September 2020 when some 3,000 people were paid up to $1,000.
In regional news,
the focus of today's Caribbean News Roundup remains to a large extent on the Haiti assassination. There's also election predictions in St. Lucia and the Dominican minimum wage development. Assassinated Haitian President Jovenel Moise's body was found riddled with a dozen high-caliber bullets, with one of his eyes blown out, a local judge has said. We found 12 holes in the president's body. Pétionville Deputy Justice of the Peace Carl Henry Destin told Haiti's largest newspaper, Le Nouvelliste, saying they were, quote, made with a large caliber weapon, end quote. The judge told the French language paper that the president's office and a bedroom were ransacked. We found him lying on his back, blue pants, a white shirt smeared with blood, his mouth open, his left eye blown out, he said. We saw a bullet impact at the level of his forehead, 1 in each nipple, 3 at the hip, 1 in the abdomen, the judge revealed. Despite Moise having his own security detail, part of a specialized unit of the Haitian National Police, only the president and his wife, Martine Moise, were shot during the hit squad's raid. The First Lady was later flown to Miami, Florida for surgery and is expected to survive. More in this Al Jazeera and ABC reports on the still developing assassination story.
The family of Haitian President Jovenel Moise will not be able to hold an open casket funeral. Assassins shot him several times in the head in front of his wife and daughter early on Wednesday. Later that night, police arrested these 2 men in the Pétionville neighborhood of Port-au-Prince. They killed 4 other suspects. 3 officers were briefly held hostage during the raid. Moise's killing upset local residents.
Imagine we live in this area close to the president. Even when we have problems with the president, we can't imagine they will kill him like this.
I heard something go boom, like an earthquake. I thought something under the soil had been turning.
The interim prime minister urged Haitians to remain calm.
I have already spoken about the state of the siege declared. The president's body has already been transported into the morgue in the capital. The First Lady is out of danger and is being treated in Florida. As per the latest information, her state is stable.
Moise's death came as he was in the middle of a political crisis. Parliament had been suspended for the past 2 years, and opponents accused Moise of trying to undermine the Constitution. The U.S. backed Moise's decision to stay in power for 1 more year, just so long as elections took place on time.
We need a lot more information, but it's very worrisome about the state.
Even as the investigation begins, interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph and the man Moise had picked to succeed him are fighting over who's in charge. Moise's widow, Martine, was flown to the U.S. to recover from her injuries. But Haiti's border with the Dominican Republic is now closed. Authorities have shut down the airport until further notice, raising questions about how Haiti will recover from this attack on the body politic. Rosalind Jordan, Al Jazeera, Washington.
The alleged assassins have yet to be identified as Haiti's acting prime minister urges calm.
We need every single one to actually move the country forward while seeking for justice for President Jovenel Moise.
The Caribbean nation plunging deeper into crisis after assailants stormed President Moise's residence overnight Wednesday, killing the 53-year-old head of state and injuring his wife. The First Lady flown to Miami to receive treatment, now fighting for her life.
The people are devastated. The Haiti is in mourning.
The Haitian ambassador to the United States says the attack was carried out by armed commandos speaking Spanish and masquerading as U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency agents. Overnight, the remains of the assassinated president removed. In the nation long gripped with turmoil and political unrest, a state of siege. The international airport shut down and border with the Dominican Republic closed. Busy capital streets emptied out.
I think a lot of us are kind of almost, and myself included, we're waiting for the fireworks. We don't want them. We don't want the violence.
In Washington, President Biden condemning the assassination.
It's very worrisome about the state of Haiti.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called Haiti's interim prime minister late Wednesday, extending his condolences and vowing to support the Haitian government and its people. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Prominent Haitian based in Jamaica, Myrta Desolny, has spoken out about the assassination of President Moise. Here's what she said on CVM News on Thursday.
President Jovenel Moise's assassination has sparked fear around the possibility of a civil war, as this brazen attack magnifies the reality of no one being safe in Haiti. President of the Haiti-Jamaica Society and diaspora representative on the Commission for a Haitian Solution to the Crisis says it's a very tense, difficult and painful situation. Mirtha de Sulme says the people of Haiti are not only in mourning because of the tragic loss of the president, but also for the country itself.
Because there is no greater cry for help than the assassination of a head of state. And this really symbolizes the pain that the Haitian people have been going through for centuries. And I think that it's high time that we all take a minute to just stop and just rethink Haiti. I mean, the artificial pain and suffering which has been imposed on the Haitian people is unbearable. They've been living in hell, and everyone in the world knows it, but turns a blind eye.
She says Haiti is seen as the weak link, but argues there's no truth to this.
One Haitian historian said if it wasn't for Haiti, a lot of us would still be walking around in shackles. And just try to rethink Haiti, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Marcus Garvey asked us to do that.
De Sulme says there is still so much uncertainty around the president's tragic assassination at his private residence, adding that the truth needs to be uncovered. The fear of what's next for Haiti lingers, but De Sulme asserts that there are two things they don't wish to happen.
Now, the urgency and the fear is that nobody wants this to descend into civil war, or for the U.S. and the UN to use this as an excuse to send another military occupation to Haiti. So we hope that CARICOM can stand up as a Caribbean institution to ensure that those two things do not happen.
Nika Lewis, CVM Live.
Meanwhile, Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness has issued a statement on the brutal killing of the Haitian leader.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says he is saddened about the tragic death of the late Haitian President Jovenel Moïse. In a statement on Wednesday, Mr. Holness said, quote, Jamaica has always maintained a close relationship with Haiti, not just as our Caribbean neighbor, but also as our sister in CARICOM, end quote. He added, quote, we wish for the people of Haiti peace and stability at this time. Our government will continue to monitor the situation and to gather as much information as we can, end quote. Prime Minister Holness says his thoughts and prayers are with the Moïse family and the government and people of Haiti.
And Vincentian Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves on Wednesday condemned the assassination of President Moïse. He described it as a senseless and cowardly act of unbridled violence that has shocked and outraged many throughout CARICOM and the world. In our Caribbean community, we settle political differences peacefully through democratic institutions. We do not use violence and thuggery which undermine democracy and the rule of law, Dr. Gonsalves said. He said, too, that the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines condemns this abhorrent act and calls upon the relevant authorities in the sister CARICOM state to ensure that the matter is promptly investigated and that those responsible are brought to justice. And in Grenada, a statement was read on behalf of Prime Minister Keith Mitchell.
The government and people of Grenada are indeed shocked by this act of violence perpetrated against a head of state, and we express our sincere condolences to his family and loved ones. For us in Grenada, we are well aware of the significant impact on a country when it loses its leader to violence, and we empathize with all concerned. It is our fervent hope that Haiti will soon experience a return to peace and stability. As a member of the Caribbean community CARICOM, a grouping to which Haiti also belongs, Grenada will continue to engage with our Caribbean neighbors to do whatever we can in bringing the resolution to the issues that confront our brothers and sisters in Haiti. We continue to hope that democracy and peace will prevail and that Haitians can embark on a period of healing and reconciliation. May God bless the people of Haiti as they confront this very challenging moment in the nation's history. During a meeting of the House of Representatives on Wednesday, members of Parliament observed a minute of silence in honor of the late Haitian president.
Before the Moïse assassination, the new CARICOM chairman, Antiguan Prime Minister Gaston Brown, speaking at this week's CARICOM summit, advocated that the regional grouping should do more for Haiti and its ongoing problems.
I'm aware that we have made many overtures to provide good offices to help to resolve the seemingly intractable political issues that have plagued the country. More recently, the horrific level of violence has caused significant loss of life and has made thousands flee their homes for safety. This is an untenable situation in one of our member states, and we must redouble our efforts to bring a resolution that allows some level of normality to return to Haiti. CARICOM has made beneficial interventions to resolve political crisis in Haiti before, and we should not shrink from doing so now.
It's a very sad thing that in a CARICOM country, that the head of government, tragic in fact, unacceptable for a president of a CARICOM country, or any country for that matter, can be assassinated. CARICOM had discussed Haiti, and we're taking the position is that the situation had deteriorated so badly in Haiti that the state was no longer functioning effectively, and you had a lot of gangs, and the insecurity is tremendous, and the institutions of the state were not managing the country and what a state should do. It wasn't happening. We were finding that very unacceptable.
Ahead of the July 26 general election in St. Lucia, making predictions has become fashionable. Several St. Lucians were encouraged by Choice News Now to pick their victor.
There is no doubt in our mind. There is no doubt. We see the progress of Mr. Alan Chastney and his cabinet, the entire government. We see the progress. We see the works, the development. We cannot leave what we see already and look for what we don't see yet.
I think it's going to be a multicolored election, man.
How?
Yeah, the people, they're not for the parties this year. They're for the person that's taking care of the community and the person that comes with the best promises.
Okay. Nothing, no transaction or like now, so nothing I run in. What's why I am? They give me nothing, it's hustling. So when I go in the box there this time, I know I'm going to put it.
The election is going to be a 50-50. I'm not too sure how the outcome is. It's just something that everybody just have to tune in to see.
Well, when I look at it, I see UWP winning the election because I think St. Lucians are intelligent enough to know that UWP would be able to do a better job, and they will continue to do a better job, and they will be able to represent us internationally. You know, they will be able to represent us better on the international scene, and there is no doubt about it. UWP all the way.
For me, I see the election will be good because the Prime Minister don't have no substance. It's the same thing, he like to repeat himself. And the people is tired. The area on the ground, things are hard. What I read. The Prime Minister don't pay attention. He love to call people Malikan jackasses. And people remember. People in St. Lucia is loving people. But St. Lucian people is not a stupid people. The Prime Minister for the 5 years, the Prime Minister thinks St. Lucians are jackasses and stupid. St. Lucian is just taking it easy. Now is election time. You ring the bell, let me see the dance.
How do you think the seats will go? How many seats you thinking?
I think Labour will take it. I feel that Labour will take 16-1, 16-2. That's all I have to say.
Philippe Jepier all the way, my darling. I don't want nobody else but Philippe Jepier. When they was there the last time, my husband died about 24 years ago. They had given me a work. As Flambeau come, they put me out of the work. By the road, I'm sitting down. Right now, I want Philippe Jepier all the way, so I know I could get a little thing to do, a little work or something to do. That's who I want, Philippe Jepier all the way. Ouch! That's who I want.
Oh, I won't know that. It's God alone that will know that. So I cannot say.
The prediction for the election, Mr. Chastney is going to sit down back where he is. Nobody, they can't put this man out. They can do whatever they want. The man work, everybody sit. It's just that they are ashamed. They don't want to talk. They don't want to say exactly what they've seen as happening. You understand?
How many seats you think you'll take?
All of them, all the seats.
To me, the UWP ready already. I understood the Labour Party haven't got all the candidates, the Green haven't got all, so I seen like they're ready. So as I telling them, the best horse must win that race. But I believe the eyes have it. The eyes have it.
With our final story, here's Roy Sanford.
In a post-cabinet press briefing on Thursday,
Minister of Justice, Immigration and National Security Raymond Blackmore said that the new minimum wage increase in Dominica will take effect on September 1, 2021. He said the increase will be across all wage categories and seek to capture the most vulnerable categories of workers. Blackmore pointed out that the increase will adequately seek to capture present-day realities.
To review the minimum wage across all wage categories for the express purpose of making the required adjustments. To this end, the Cabinet of Dominica has taken a decision to increase the minimum wage of the Commonwealth of Dominica effective September 1st, 2021. The setting of a minimum wage should ensure maximum benefit to the persons who will be affected. It is also important to note that the Commonwealth of Dominica does not have a fixed minimum wage across all wage categories. Instead, the minimum wage is set per category and seeks to cover the most vulnerable categories of workers. The last minimum wage review was undertaken in 2007, which resulted in the passing of an order which covered specific number of wage categories, namely agricultural workers, daily paid workers, unskilled workers, domestic workers, clerks, receptionists, salespersons, and cashiers. Therefore, this long overdue minimum wage review was undertaken to ensure that the economic realities of the present-day reality were adequately captured.
And that's the Caribbean News Roundup for today, July 9.
We now bring you these international reports.
Haiti's police said Thursday they have killed or apprehended the suspected killers of President Jovenel Moïse and are hunting for the masterminds behind the assassination. In a televised news briefing, authorities called for calm after hundreds of residents clamored outside a police station in Port-au-Prince where the suspects were being held, shouting, "Burn them," and setting fire to a vehicle they presumed belonged to the assassins. One of the suspects seized Thursday is a U.S. citizen, the Washington Post reported, and another among the detainees may also be a Haitian American, the Post said, citing Haiti's Minister of Elections. Other suspects were killed Wednesday by Haitian security forces in a fierce firefight that lasted late into the night. Moïse was shot dead early Wednesday at his home by what officials said was a commando of trained killers. His violent death plunges the poorest country in the Americas deeper into chaos amidst political divisions, hunger, and widespread gang violence. It has also generated confusion about who is the legitimate leader of the country of 11 million people. Moïse had just this week appointed a new prime minister, Ariel Henry, to take over from interim prime minister Claude Joseph, although Henry had yet to be sworn in when the president was killed. Joseph, however, has remained in charge, running the government response to the assassination, appealing to foreign governments for support, and declaring a state of emergency. The UN Special Envoy for Haiti said on Thursday that Joseph will lead the Caribbean nation until an election is held and urged all parties to set aside their differences.
There certainly are tensions. There are certainly people on all sides of this issue. That's why it's important that dialogue happen and that the Haitian authorities and Haitian stakeholders have a dialogue so that a way forward can be charted, one that gives the people of Haiti the opportunity to decide who their next government is.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the U.S. is also urging an election to be held this year.
We know that free and fair elections will facilitate a peaceful transfer of power to a newly elected president, and we certainly continue to support Haiti's democratic institutions.
Since he took office in 2017, Moïse had faced mass protests against his rule, first over corruption allegations and his management of the economy, then over his increasing grip on power. Officials have so far not given a motive for his killing.
In Haiti, a group of handcuffed men were paraded before the media on Thursday. Suspects, police said, in the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Authorities called them a commando unit, trained and heavily armed, and said they were all foreigners, including 26 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans. Also on display, assault rifles, machetes, bolt cutters, and Colombian passports. Police held the press event following a raid on a house near the scene of the crime. They said 3 suspects have been killed, with 8 still on the run. Colombia's defense minister said there was preliminary evidence that the Colombian suspects were retired military.
The national government, our police and army have given instructions for immediate collaboration. The complete cooperation of our forces is with our fellow Republic of Haiti.
Authorities have identified the American suspects, but the U.S. State Department has not confirmed they are citizens. Haiti's police claim the local community helped track down the suspected killers, but have called for residents not to take justice into their own hands. Authorities declared a state of emergency following his killing. But interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph on Thursday said it was time to reopen the economy and called for the airport to restart operations.
Iraqi forces in Ain al-Assad base are on high alert. On Wednesday, a missile attack injured 2 people. The base houses Iraqi army units alongside coalition forces, including U.S. personnel. We traveled with the Iraqi army to al-Baghdadi district about 14 kilometers away. This is where missiles that have targeted the base during the past few months were fired from. We found a missile launcher that had exploded, leaving several houses damaged, including a mosque. Hamza Mish'an was among a number of civilians injured in the blast.
I was looking from the window when the explosion started. A shrapnel hit me in the head. Why is this happening in our area? We are not part of this conflict.
Iraq's Joint Operations Command, which protects the base, is investigating.
The terrorists have been using various ways to reach the base. This time, missiles were hidden under flour sacks. We're now collecting evidence to identify the perpetrators.
Security sources say the missile launcher was blown up by the ammunition it was carrying. The detonation brought on by scorching summer temperatures. But locals tell a different story.
2 missiles came from the base direction. One hit the missile truck, the other hit the garden nearby.
After a U.S. airstrike on the Syria-Iraq border 2 weeks ago, Iranian-backed groups declared open war against the U.S. forces still in Iraq. Washington says Iraq's government wants the U.S. to provide military training for its troops and help in the fight against ISIL. But this continuing conflict between Iran and the U.S. goes further. Indirect talks aimed at salvaging the 2015 nuclear deal abandoned by the previous U.S. administration under Donald Trump are again under threat, and that's not helping Iraq. The Ain al-Assad base has been under multiple drone and rocket attacks since the killing of Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani in a U.S. airstrike in January last year. Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, an Iraqi commander of the Popular Mobilization Forces, was also killed. Violence between U.S. forces and Iranian-affiliated armed groups is likely to continue as long as the nuclear issue remains unresolved. Mahmoud Abdul Wahid, Al Jazeera, in Anbar province, western Iraq.
Outside UN headquarters, Ethiopian protesters gathered. They didn't want this meeting to take place. To demonstrate that point, unlike Egypt and Sudan, Ethiopia didn't send its foreign minister to this meeting. Instead, it was represented by its water and irrigation minister.
The African Union is seized of the matter and is ably facilitating our negotiation. That is why it is regrettable that our sisterly countries opted to bring the matter to the Security Council.
It was Sudan and Egypt that had demanded this meeting, saying the fact that Ethiopia is again filling the dam amounts to a threat to international peace and security.
It is not an overstatement to affirm
that for Egypt, the GERD is an existential threat. This is a situation that Egypt cannot and will not tolerate.
Later, I pressed the foreign minister on what action his country was prepared to take. So are there circumstances where you would consider military action?
The matter of Egypt's protection of the rights of its citizen is inherent and is a matter that necessarily any responsible government would apply itself to.
Clearly, growing tension between three countries, two of them with a population of more than 100 million people and another with a population of more than 40 million, is very concerning. But the Security Council is unlikely to take any direct action. Diplomats tell me they hope this meeting will force the three countries back into African Union-led mediation. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
That was the WINN FM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Good afternoon, St Kitts and Nevis, and welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I am your host for this afternoon, Devon Cornelius. Good afternoon to all of you who are listening via whatever means, via the radio, via the television, yes, via the World Wide Web, and of course via our social media platforms. Good afternoon, and you're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For those of you who are just tuning in to today's edition of Voices, earlier today we spoke with Mr. Valentine Lindsay, and he is the chairperson of the Housing and Shelter National Disaster Subcommittee. As I said before, you know, it is a continued partnership between NEMA and WINN FM, where we partner to provide information for members of the public during this time, but this is the first time partnership, so that you can know what to do in the event of a natural disaster, in particular hurricanes. But this afternoon, we are going to have an open air discussion. There is not going to be a specific topic that we are going to focus on, but it's going to be more so of an open air discussion. I am going to allow you, members of the public, to call in and raise an issue that you would like to facilitate a discussion on. We're not going to have 10 different topics to explore. So we're going to just stick to probably 2 or 3, and we are going to kick off the discussion. It is 12:44. We are going to open the phone lines. Again, for those of you who are new and are just tuning in, the numbers to call are 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. If we have any calls, we will begin taking calls. No calls at the moment. So most of you, I would assume, had the opportunity to listen to the Prime Minister's press conference, which was held yesterday, Thursday, July 8th, and a number of announcements were made, a number of measures were announced that the government of St Kitts and Nevis will be taken due to COVID-19 and them finding ways to assist the people who are indeed in need of assistance. And so I trust that you guys were able to listen and to know what some of the measures or new initiatives were. However, for those of you who were not able to listen, I'm just going to give you a brief recap of or some key takeaways rather from the Prime Minister's press conference. Now, I think the one that stood out to many people were the announcement of the income support program, where the government has allocated $15 million to citizens and residents who are unemployed or who have been unemployed since March 2020 and have not worked. And of course, this is due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if I may, I'll try to explain or break it down for people who may qualify for this assistance. However, I would encourage you to contact the Social Security Board or contact the Ministry of Finance, where I hope they would have more guidance for you. But basically, this assistance is for people who have been unemployed since March 2020, and from March 2020 to July 2021, if you received more than $15,000 worth of severance, you will not qualify for this assistance. So in other words, if your payment from the severance fund was more than $15,000 between March 2020 and right now, you may not qualify. So if it is less than 15,000, you may be able to qualify for the assistance. Now, for people who are receiving government assistance that is more than $1,000, you may not qualify for this assistance. However, for people who are on the Poverty Alleviation Program, PAP, receiving the $500, the Prime Minister is saying that the government will spruce up or add to that $500. So in other words, if you are getting $500 now from the PAP, you're going to get another $500 from the income support program. Now, this is not for people who would have received, well, not for people who received, sorry, more than $15,000. As the Prime Minister has stressed, they really want to assist the people who are really, really, really in need at this time. People who have not received the red cent and have just been, you know, going from here to there off of government assistance that has been, you know, under $1,000, really trying to make ends meet. And this is what the government is proposing to assist those people. Now, the monthly stipend would be $1,000 for the next 3 months. Of course, terms and conditions apply. So we'll have to, I'm not sure how the process will go, if they're going to call you or if you have to call them. but terms and conditions apply. And the relevant person, the relevant officer would explain to you the eligibility requirements. You would know whether you qualify or whether you are eligible for this payment. The government has also decided to waive the rent for small businesses for 6 months, but people who are renting from the government. So in other words, if you own a small business, whether it be in Bastia or whatever, you would benefit from this assistance from the government if you are up to date. I think that is what the Prime Minister said. So it's not that you owe the government years in rent. If you owe the government years in rent, I do not think you are going to qualify. Matter of fact, I'll say this, I don't think you should qualify if you owe the government years in rent. However, if you have been faithful and you have been paying your rent up until now, or let's say a few months ago, because COVID has been here since March 2020, then I assume, and I think you should qualify for this assistance. The Prime Minister also announced that there will be a fuel subsidy of $400 monthly for passenger bus operators for the next 3 months. So operators of the omnibuses will receive $400 subsidy for fuel. I think that is very significant. For the next 6 months, stall fees waived or will be waived for vendors at the public market. So if you are a vendor, a properly registered vendor at the public market, the government is saying that they're going to waive it. They're going to waive it. For the next 6 months, you ain't have to pay. They're going to waive it for the next 6 months. There will be a further reduction of the VAT, which is the value added tax rate, from 5 to 10% for small businesses. Reinstate the annual import duty exemption for 16 tires as taxi and bus operators. I'm sorry for those of you who are looking, there's something in my eye here. So these are some just of the measures that were announced by the Prime Minister at his press conference on July 8th. Immediately after these announcements were made, of course, you know, for those of you who follow social media was abuzz. It was hot, and everybody had something to say about these new measures. Some of the comments that were made were in support of these measures. Some of the comments that were made were questioning as to why these measures are now just coming, or why they could not have been better. And so there was a lot of, you know, different arguments being held. Let's just say that, different arguments being held. Now, I want to hear from you, those of you who are listening. I want to hear from you, your thoughts about these new measures that were announced. I also saw some chat on Facebook that people, particularly on Nevis, claimed that these measures, or some of these measures, did not apply to the island of Nevis, and they were hoping to hear some specific measures for the island of Nevis. Now, we are a federation, one country. If the Prime Minister comes and makes an announcement, or make announcements to say, well, this is what the government will be doing, the government of St Kitts and Nevis, you can only assume that, of course, these measures would be implemented on the island of Nevis. However, people took to Facebook to seek clarity and confirmation, and to really understand what are the measures for the island of Nevis. During the Prime Minister's address at the press conference, he indicated that from January to June, $164.3 million spent on employee-related benefits, 10,000 on government's payroll, and never borrow a cent. That is what the Prime Minister stated at his press conference. So they have been able to pay their staff. Government employees have been paid every month, according to the Prime Minister, totaled into $164.3 million. I think this is these measures that have been announced, or that were announced, sorry. I think this is one of the first Caribbean nations or Caribbean countries to announce measures such as these. I assume that other countries would be coming out with their own stimulus packages and new measures to assist the people who are in need. But we're going to open the phone lines at this time, and we're going to, ask you to call in and share with us, your thoughts as it relates to these announcements. I think too, what people were looking for, like me, we were anticipating some news as it relates to the current protocols, because as we know, we are, under a state of emergency, and as part of that state of emergency, 24-hour lockdowns have been implemented for both the islands of St Kitts and Nevis, and so today and yesterday, limited day of operation where you are allowed to move about, you are allowed to go and get essential business done. However, people are wanting to know, well, when will the Prime Minister's destination to say that these measures have been relaxed or these measures are up? As we know, the current measures will expire at 5 a.m. on Monday, which is July 12th. And so people are anxious to know what will be happening or what will happen, after July 12th. It will be very interesting. If you have no callers at this time, we'll take a break to say thank you to the sponsors for this program. And when we come back, we'll open up the phone lines and we will entertain your calls. Let's take this short break and we are going to be right back. Stay tuned.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag specials from July 1st through 14th. Essential everyday apple juices, just $6.99. IGA canned vegetables, $2.99. IGA peanut butter, creamy and crunchy, $7.99. Almond breeze milk, $12.99. Essential everyday bar and shredded cheeses, just $7.99. Wishbone salad dressings, just $8.99. And now our very low weekly value deals. Kraft barbecue sauces, $5.99 each. Essential everyday pastas, $2.99. IGA squeezed ketchup, $3.99. Ecoline mouthwash, 1.3 to 1.5 liters, just $9.49. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras a Value Mart.
Found the sound, 98.9. WINN FM.
Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. It is just 1 minute past the hour of 1. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. The phone lines are open. The numbers to call are 466-0989-762 and 662. Call us and be a part of this discussion. So now, there has been a lot of chatter with regards to we seem to be having some technical difficulties with our phone lines at the moment. So let me apologize for that. However, you can send us a WhatsApp with your comment at 662-2204. You can also leave us a message on the Facebook live stream, which is WINNMedia SKN.com. We are having some technical difficulties. Let me humbly apologize for that inconvenience. Now, as I was saying, there was some chatter as it relates to the recent measures announced by the Prime Minister that he will be implementing an income support program. However, people, took to social media to express their dissatisfaction, to say that they were really hoping to hear, new measures as it relates to the quarantine time for people being reduced from, of course, less than 9 days, as some people believe that it is absolutely ridiculous for fully vaccinated people to be quarantined for 9 days. And so we were anticipating the announcement that, they would be decreasing or lessening the time people vaccinated to quarantine for 4 days. Some people hinted 4 days, some were saying 3 or 2 days. And as you know, the current measures in place in terms of lockdowns and restrictions will expire on Monday, which is July 12 at 5 a.m. And we are hoping to hear from the Prime Minister going forward. We seem to have a caller on the line. Let us take this call. Caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Hello.
Yes, caller, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon. You can hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly. Are you hearing me?
Yes, yeah. It really seemed like something wrong with the lines. Because I heard you there speaking for quite a while, and before it was ringing busy. But anyhow, we're in, yes, and the discussions will always continue. This is a very serious government. But before we get into that, let me just ask you a few questions. Do you know any other country in the Caribbean which has given us second stimulus package to the citizens?
No, I don't.
Do you know any government in the world that is perfect?
No governments are perfect, sir.
And let me ask you one last question. Are you aware that at least 99% of the people who died in reference to the corona in America were not vaccinated? At least 99%?
No, I'm not aware of that, but if you have the statistics, please share with me. But I'm not aware of that.
Yeah. So at least 99%, right? So that is a tremendous signal in reference to the benefit of the vaccine, right?
Yes.
Well, yes, we can get into the discussion in reference to the outstanding package which was delivered by the present caring and good government of St Kitts and Nevis, which we are extremely proud. And to be honest, any constructive and objective, honest citizen, putting everything aside, if they're reasonable, responsible, and honest, will agree that this government have delivered, not only in the past, because the evidence is there, but have come yesterday again and delivered. But also, let me just say, in reference to the government and the Prime Minister, which has been quite busy for the last few days, up until Wednesday, were in a meeting with the heads of government. So in terms of, and then had to go into the press conference yesterday, then after the press conference had to go back into cabinet, to discuss in reference to, the good business on the behalf of the good people of St Kitts and Nevis, and in terms of the measures which would be in place from Monday. But the measures end on Monday morning, 5 a.m., and one would wonder, what would be a reasonable time? A day before? 6 days before? And even if you give some people a week, they will say no. 2 weeks. You give some people 2 weeks, they will say no, a month. You will not ever please every single person. It don't matter whatever you do. If the government decide to give something and they decide to go in the square and give it, they will say, no, it should have been done in the circus. If they go in the circus and do it, they will say it should have been done on the Bay Road. But let me go into the measures, because you would have rightly mentioned, different. Let me ask, give your views in reference to the overall package, and I'll take it from there.
I'm asking for you to give me your view of the package. What do you think of the package? I listed the package that the Prime Minister presented, so I'm now asking for you to tell me what you think of the package.
Tremendous. Tremendous. Bringing relief to the people. As I said, the government over the years have delivered, have put things in place, all kind of safety net to benefit over and over and over the people of St Kitts and Nevis. Unfortunately, we do have a crisis. Nobody brought the crisis here. The government did not bring the crisis here, neither on sea nor on the plane. Even some people think that the government is responsible for the crisis. That is how some people are behaving. And not only behaving, there are some people seriously believe that the government is responsible for the crisis. Like for instance, on December 13 of 2012, there was a desperate attempt where the government, which was desperate on its way out, went down on Bank Street, opened up a PEP program, 1,000 people for six months. They opened it, say, people who are unemployed, 1,000 people for 6 months. It went on from 2012, December, till when they were kicked out of government in 2015 and end up with over 4,000 people, right? So you had unemployment high in the country. But today, and we didn't have no crisis at that time. Today we have a crisis, and they do not expect people to be unemployed. And they think that, where tourism is seriously hampered throughout the world, the hotel them in terms of occupancy are down. And every single thing, directly and indirectly, in reference to tourism is down. So you would expect people to be directly, negatively, unfortunately affected. You will expect that.
Right. Caller, quickly wrap up, as we have other callers who are trying to get into the program as well.
Okay. Well, maybe I should just cut and I can maybe come back after, because there is really and truly so much to say in reference to this, to our government, and I am extremely proud again, and I have said tremendous commendation to an excellent package delivered to the people of St Kitts and Nevis. Let me leave it there for now. Okay.
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your contribution. You're listening to Voices on WINN FM at 98.4 today, Devon Cornelius. We are still taking calls at this time. It is 12 minutes past the hour of 1 here in our studios. We are going to take some more calls. For those of you who are just tuning in, numbers to call are 466-0989, 762 and 662. We have another call. Let's take this call.
Good afternoon,
You are
Devon.
on the
Can you
air.
hear me?
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hearing you clearly.
Good afternoon, Devon.
Yes, good afternoon. You hearing me?
Yes, I could hear you. I could hear you before, but the phone keep cutting out. Anyway, may the Lord bless and touch your phone system, yeah? Maybe we need to have a GoFund WINN FM telephone system. You're not the only one.
You can sponsor us on the telephone system.
The phone, so don't feel no way.
Yeah?
Now, just to
Miss
clarify
Henry.
some things you said. The thing about the government rent, it is government commercial rent.
Yes.
Like
Thank you
down
for
at
that
the mall,
clarification.
and they down at the bus station and whatever.
Yes.
And they mean the market. It is not NHC. So please, don't get it wrong. It's not NHC.
Yes.
The one with the electricity, I will say to people, if you can pay your electricity bill, pay it. The government is not writing off the electricity bill. Let me say it again in case you misunderstood. You don't have to pay for 3 months, mean you don't owe. At the end of the 3 months, you still owe for what you did not pay for. Did you understand that? No, did you understand that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm making it clear as a teacher. If you can pay your electricity bill, pay it. The one with the VAT on the rent, private commercial buildings, not residential,
Yes.
people who rent for stores and shops and so. They were to pay 10% on the rent in terms of VAT to the government, and therefore the VAT has now gone to 5%.
5%, yeah.
The one with the bank loans again. Because I know they got some civil servants going to rush up, you know. They're saying they give you, I think, 6 months moratorium. I think he was to discuss it with the bank. Because right now I think it goes to September. Because many people have put themselves deeper in debt, in that they have taken up these offers when they were in a position to pay. Somebody said this morning that there was a long line down by Social Security side, only people trying to register. Maybe that I did not get clear as to where and how. You know? And in terms of the Nevis, we have to always remember Nevis has its own government. A lot of the things, when the money comes from the federal purse, it applies to Nevis. So out of the 50 million, they will get their share. They will get their share of the Social Security, 200 things too. Now with that one, what I heard them say that, I think it's Ramsden Value Mart, when you go to shop, they would add 10%, which means that they would put on $20 on it. Now, you are in Nevis, and you can recall that at one time they tried. You're there still?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Oh, I know your phone making a noise. They said, I think when they started giving out, and they were saying people could have carried them to the small shops, some people were going there and cashing them. Just like how they cash your Social Security check. So that they were giving the money to buy food stuff, but they went and were cashing them. I think sometimes we need to be a little more understanding. The one
So
again.
maybe that's why it's best to give vouchers.
Yes. Because some people saying, oh, they give the vouchers them and only so and so. Or they gave who adding to it. Because I wonder why the other supermarkets don't participate. I don't call nobody's name, but I've never heard them participating in anything. You know? And the others put in and they get out. Now, did you listen to the forum there yesterday afternoon?
Yes, I was in and out of it,
very
but I had
enlightening, you know, because it answered two questions. I think there were 4 speakers, 4 or 5. I listened to all of them. One was a lecturer at the university in, I think it's Mona.
Yes.
Another one from Trinidad. There was this gentleman from Grenada who is also in the trade union business. And the lady said, the lawyer, that the issue, by the way, all of them said, well, this is not real. They don't really believe you should do mandatory right now. But if everything else fails, it is legal. You understand that?
Yes.
In terms of public health, because that is the issue. I mean, the lady made it clear.
Well, you see, Miss Henry, if I may, everybody had their own interpretation. The experts said yesterday, because I remember I was on the phone yesterday with someone, and they said that you can't make the vaccine mandatory, and you can't force people to be vaccinated. So people are having, I guess we hear what we want to hear. We probably pick up what we want to pick out, but
yes, the lady,
it was very, I'm going to go back and listen it word for word to hear for myself.
Yes, I listen myself to kind of want to play it over, because 2 of them said in the public health law says, in cases where it becomes necessary, and they even spoke about this constitutional rights and rights, and an exception to the rights in the Constitution is the public health issue. So when something becomes a public health issue of magnitude, kind of bill is cold, the state has the right. Now, I hope people who are saying, oh, they can't, this and that, constitutional rights, I hope you all listened. Nobody is saying that they must do it now, but they have all said you must try everything to get them to do it on their own.
So essentially, it is in the interest of the public's health.
Health, yes. And therefore, the employers can do it.
Do you support mandatory vaccination?
Employers, eh?
Do you support it, mandatory vaccination?
Put it this way, I see it like how the people say it, right? Now, depending on the severity and whatever it is. Now, people are saying we want the economy open, we want to go back to work and whatever. Now, it would depend on, they were talking about sectors. Remember, they were talking about sectors?
Yeah.
And they said in certain sectors it should be mandatory. Where you're upfront in people's face, mixing with the public and whatever. They gave certain things, even in the hotels, hospitals, different places where you come directly into contact. And it makes sense because if you're working in a situation, maybe you want a typist in a place also. Nobody should force you. But if you are going to be in a position where you are a risk to those you're serving, then yes. Because how would you feel? I wanted to ask this question. Let's say you went into TDC. Let's call TDC by name. And you went into a store. And there's an unvaccinated person serving you. Right? You have on your mask and whatever. And you go home. And you hear next day that the person was positive. And then the person named you as a contact. Because remember, you become a contact, eh? So you now have to go and lose your 2 weeks or whatever weeks until you're clear. Who is liable?
Let me respond by saying this, Carla.
Ask, who do you think is liable?
Hold on, let me respond by saying this. Case number 18, right, for Nevis. According to the case that came up from the Ministry of Health on Nevis, case number 18 was fully vaccinated. So the government has said, not just here, but across the region, that there have been people who are fully vaccinated and who have contracted the virus. And these very same fully vaccinated people have put other people in a very difficult position. So imagine the same scenario. You go to the
question is who is liable?
You reach home, hold on, you reach home, and you hear that now that you have been a contact of somebody who is, yes, fully vaccinated, but they had the COVID. So, what do you do there? I remember the CMO did say that people who are contacts of positive cases and have been fully vaccinated, they won't have to quarantine, but it is just for me to stress again that getting vaccinated is not a silver bullet for COVID. It doesn't say that you ain't going to get the COVID, you still get it.
It increases your coverage, isn't it, sir?
Right. So people need to understand.
Everybody asking who is liable. Who is liable if you are infected by somebody in somebody's business place? Who? Is it the employer? Is it the government?
I can answer that question. I have said before, it's an individual responsibility. Whoever wants to catch COVID, go out there and catch it. Simple as that. You have to protect yourself from COVID. Protect yourself.
People do that? They work so much? I can't. Is quarantine, you want quarantine?
Listen, we have some of the callers, they're on the line, they're trying to get in, so
yes,
I'm going to have to end you.
And please work on this phone system.
Yes, I apologize for that. We're going to get that one sorted out. Mr. It's 1:24, sorry. We're going to take some more calls at this time. The number is call 466-0989. 762 and 66. So this is a very interesting conversation. It's vaccinated versus unvaccinated. I've said before, I am not going to go there and tell anybody whether they should be vaccinated or they should not be vaccinated. It is your business. Whether you want to, I'm going to say no, and I'm not going to apologize for saying it. If you want to get vaccinated, that is fine. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that is fine. All you do, you weigh the risks, you weigh the advantages, and you weigh the disadvantages. The information is out there about the vaccine. You go, you get the information. If at the end of the day you decide that you are not going to take it, then that is your personal decision. So live with the risk. If you decide that you're going to take it, the same thing. But am I going to come here and say, take the vaccine, if you don't take it, you're stupid? It's crazy, this. Right now we have a fight against people vaccinated and unvaccinated. And I'm not going to be a part of that fight. If you want to take it, you take it. If you don't want to take it, then that is your business. I'm not going to force anybody because I am not in a position to do so. But you know that with choices would come consequences. So if you decide, I'm going to take it, then you have to live with the benefits and you have to live with the risks. If you decide you are not going to take it, it is the same thing. It is the same thing. I've been hearing people saying, oh, we have prominent people here not encouraging people to take the vaccine. The most I can tell you to do is listen to the medical professionals. I am not a medical professional. Don't listen to me. Go and listen to the medical professionals and hear what they have to say about the vaccine. The most I can do is to relay the information and say, well, this is what Dr. Wilkinson said. This is what Dr. Sebastian said. I can't give my personal knowledge of a vaccine because I don't know anything about a vaccine. Or let me just say, I'm not in a position to advise anybody about taking a vaccine. I went out, I saw the information about the vaccine. And what I'm saying is that you should do it too. So don't let anybody influence you to take it or not to take it. Or don't let that be the single deciding factor that, well, Tom, take it, so I don't take it too. No. Make sure you are educated about what you are putting inside your body. Go and get the right information. And make sure you know what you're doing. But is it that because, well, my lady take it, so I don't take it too? No. The information is out there. Credible sources are out there. The World Health Organization, PAHO, the Ministry of Health. Go and get the information. You know, we have some ignorant people who say, oh man, what about the vaccine? The information is out there. Go and get the information. Is it that you don't know about the vaccine or you don't want to know? What is it? So, what I am trying to say to people is to educate yourself. Educate yourself. Whether you're going to take the vaccine or not. I know sometimes you don't like to have this very uncomfortable conversation about vaccinated and unvaccinated, and people asking you whether you have been vaccinated or not. I done said before, may nobody ask me if I take the vaccine or not, because I ain't asking you that. It is a personal responsibility. And so you know the risks, you know the benefits, you will have that choice to make. The good thing about it, the people who qualify for the vaccine from ages 18 to 80, so you're adults, you could make your own decision. I shouldn't have to make a decision for you. I shouldn't have to make a decision for you. You know you're supposed to do to take the vaccine. Do what you have to do. Whether you're going to take it or you're not going to take it. But some people fail to admit or accept the fact that there is this little pull and tug and fight between who take it and who ain't take it. But I'm not going to be a part of that fight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of time. It is 2 minutes before the end time. I'm going to begin wrapping up this program. We are coming back tomorrow and we are going to expound upon these issues that we were able to just touch the surface of. We're going to have 2 hours tomorrow from 11 to 12 and from 12:30 to 1:30. And we're going to expound on these very pertinent issues. Mandatory vaccination, the measures announced by the Prime Minister, whether you are in support of the measures announced, or do you feel that these measures are late, or do you feel that these measures should have been better? We're going to continue this conversation tomorrow. Let me say thank you guys so much for tuning into this edition of Voices here on WINN FM at 98.9. It was indeed a pleasure. Thank you guys so much, and until next time, stay safe. Have a fantastic weekend. Remember, wear your mask, wash your hands, and do what you have to do. I just remember after tonight, we're going back on the lockdown, so you can't really go nowhere tomorrow. But nevertheless, stay safe. Have a good one.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back. But this time, Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices, and fantastic deals. More of Hosford's fabulous